There comes a time in every person's life when they stand at a crossroads wondering which way to turn. The world offers countless doorstep opportunities, ambitions, dreams, and desires all vying for our attention. Some doors seem promising, others uncertain, and still others are outright dangerous. But the most important question we must ask is this: which door is the right one? Which path leads to life, purpose, and eternal significance? It is in these moments that we must remember that God, in His infinite wisdom and love, is the one who holds the key to the right door. He alone knows what is best for us. He alone sees the end from the beginning. And He alone can lead us to the place where we will fulfill His perfect will. The Bible tells us in Revelation 3:7-8, these are the words of Him who is holy and true, who holds the key of David. What He opens, no one can shut, and what He shuts, no one can open. When God opens a door, no force in heaven or on earth can close it. When He shuts a door, it is because He is protecting us from something that is not meant for us. Many people spend their lives trying to force open doors that were never meant for them. They push and strive, only to find frustration and disappointment. They chase after worldly success, thinking it will bring them happiness, but discover that it is empty and fleeting. They pursue relationships that seem right in their own eyes, only to end up with heartache. They take jobs, make moves, and invest in opportunities without seeking God's wisdom, and later wonder why things fell apart. For when we allow God to open the right door in His perfect time, we find peace, we find joy, we find purpose. We find that His ways are always higher than ours. Look at the life of Joseph in the Bible. He was a young man with dreams given by God, but his journey to fulfilling those dreams was anything but easy. He was betrayed by his brothers, thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, falsely accused and imprisoned. It seemed like every door in his life was slamming shut. But in the midst of all his trials, God was preparing him. God was working behind the scenes, aligning every event, every circumstance, and every trial to bring him to the right door, the one that would place him in a position of authority in Egypt, second only to Pharaoh. And when that door opened, it was undeniable. Joseph didn't have to force his way in. God's hand moved in such a way that no one could stop it. Perhaps you feel like Joseph today. Maybe it seems like every door you try to walk through is closing. Maybe you've been rejected, overlooked, or even betrayed. Maybe you've tried everything in your own strength, and nothing seems to work. Let me encourage you, God has not forgotten you. His timing is perfect. If a door has closed, trust that He is leading you to the right one. Do not lose heart. Do not grow weary. Keep seeking Him. Keep trusting Him. And in due season, He will open the door that no man can shut. We live in a world that tells us we have to make things happen on our own. We hear phrases like, take control of your destiny, and if you want something, go get it. But as believers, we must operate differently. We must walk by faith, not by sight. We must wait on the Lord and trust His leading. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 3-5-6, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight. When we surrender our plans to God and seek His will, He will guide our steps. He will open doors that we could never open on our own. There may be times when you feel like God is silent. You may pray for an open door and see nothing happening. But understand this, God's silence is not His absence. He is always working, even when we cannot see it. He may be preparing you, refining your character, and teaching you to depend on Him. Sometimes the waiting season is the most important part of the journey. It is in the waiting that we learn to trust Him fully. It is in the waiting that we develop faith strong enough to walk through the door when it finally opens. Think of Noah. God gave him a command to build an ark when there was no sign of rain. For years, Noah worked, waiting for God's promise to be fulfilled. People mocked him, doubted him, and ridiculed him. But Noah remained faithful, and when the time came, God opened the door of the ark and shut it behind him. When God opens the right door, it is always at the right time. Not a moment too soon, not a second too late. What do you do while you wait? You pray, you seek His will. You remain faithful in the small things. Do not despise the season of preparation, for it is in this season that God is shaping you for what is to come. David was anointed king as a young shepherd boy, but he did not step into the palace immediately. He spent years in the wilderness, tending sheep, facing battles, and learning to trust God. When the time came, God opened the right door, and David stepped into his destiny. God's ways are often different from what we expect. Sometimes He will close a door that we desperately wanted to walk through. It may not make sense at the moment, but later we will see that He was protecting us. There are times when what we think is good is actually far less than what God has in store. We may settle for something small when God is preparing something great. That is why we must trust Him completely. If you are standing in front of a closed door today, do not be discouraged. Instead, ask God to guide you to the right one. Ask Him to give you peace in the waiting. Ask Him to increase your faith and trust in His perfect plan. He is the God who makes a way where there seems to be no way. He is the God who turns mourning into dancing, sorrow into joy, and brokenness into wholeness. Throughout history, men and women who trusted God found that He always led them to the right door. Moses stood before the Red Sea with no apparent way forward, but God opened a way. Daniel was thrown into the lion's den, but God shut the mouths of the lions. Paul and Silas were imprisoned, but God opened the prison doors. When we trust in Him, no obstacle is too great, no situation too impossible. God is faithful. He has not forgotten you. He has not abandoned you. He is leading you, guiding you, and preparing you for the right door. When that door opens, you will know it was His hand that did it. You won't have to force it, manipulate it, or strive for it. You will walk in with confidence knowing that God has gone before you. Let God open the right door. Trust Him in the waiting. Believe that His plans for you are good. And when that door opens, step through it with faith, knowing that He has prepared the way. You are not alone. The God who created the heavens and the earth is the same God who is ordering your steps. Walk in faith, and in His perfect time you will walk through the door He has prepared just for you.